bitter criticism. Reading, I don't remember. Reading, well, Al Jazeera, it's time to make to our duties as human beings. Modern contemporary genocide. The contemporary genocide in Gaza, happening in Gaza. There's a video show. Oh, they are sending aid by parachutes. Look. Airdrop aid parachute because of following international pressure over its forced starvation policy. Israel has allowed airdrops to resume over Gaza. Live updates: 7 more people, including a child, die from Israel-induced Gaza starvation. Desperation and danger is in besieged Gaza amid continued Israeli bombardment and forced starvation. By Niels Adler, Masyar Motamedi, August 2nd, 2025. Palestinians in the besieged Gaza Strip described a desperate struggle for food as Israeli bombardment continues. At least 51 people, including 27 aid seekers, have so far been killed on Saturday in Israeli attacks across Gaza. 7 more people, including 1 child, have died due to famine and malnutrition in Gaza, the territory's health ministry says, bringing the number of deaths from starvation to 169, including 93 children. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 60,430 people and wounded 148,722. An estimated 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the October 7 attacks, and more than 200 were taken captive. This 60 number is maybe, well, I guess never is going up to 1 million people, but who knows? It is impressive. I was saying is I was debating not directly, but with Rui Costa Pimenta from PCO, and he said that any liberation struggle, like all of them, like Brazilian struggle to independence struggles, they are all always take a lot of blood. Anyway, but it's terrible. But I guess not good business. It was not good business from what to do. Well, I don't know. They were like 5 million people, maybe going to Canada. The question is, I'm not sure if Palestine, I'm not sure if they are going to win this, what they are going to achieve, and Palestine independence, who knows. August 2nd, 5 minutes ago, witnesses describe Israeli forces killing, injuring aid seekers at GHF sites. at a GAF distribution site near the Netzarim corridor in central Gaza. Aid seeker Yahya Youssef described chaotic scenes after helping to carry 3 people wounded by gunshots. He said he saw others on the ground bleeding. Quote, "It's the same daily episode," Youssef said. Health workers said at least 8 people were killed in the incident. Israel's military said it fired warning shots at a gathering approaching its forces. At least 2 people were killed in the Shakosh area, hundreds of meters, yards from where the GHF operates. Other side in the southernmost city of Rafah, witnesses said. Nasser hospitals in nearby Khan Yunis received 2 bodies and many wounded. Witness Mohammed Abu Taha said the Israeli troops opened fire on the crowds. He saw 3 people, 2 men and a woman, shot as he fled. And there's a photograph. People mourn over the body of a young Palestinian killed while trying to reach trucks carrying humanitarian aid en route to Gaza City. Saturday, 20 minutes ago, risky aid troops, quote unquote, at last resort, ex-UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths, the former Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief Coordinator at the UN, has described aid drops as, quote unquote, a last resort. They have lots of risks, he told Al Jazeera, quote, "We have seen it happen already in this week of airdrops in Gaza. People hurt, wounded, killed on the ground because of the drops," Griffith said, adding there is, quote, "no system on the ground to prevent loading and to get it to the right people," he said. Aid agencies have criticized airdrops as ineffective and symbolic. A plane load can typically only carry a quarter of an average truck's capacity of 40 tons per load. And there's a photograph. Aid lands in the Gaza Strip. "35 minutes ago, Israel has no legal right to obstruct aid in Gaza," international law expert. In international law, Israel's presence in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, it is in and of itself illegal, according to Ralph Wild, professor of international law at University College London. He told Al Jazeera from Montevideo that it is a violation of self-determination and law on use of force. So it is an, quote, aggression. Quote, "In consequence, Israel has no legal right even to be there in the first place, and no legal right to operate any restrictions preventing others, whether the UN states or aid organizations, from entering Gaza and providing aid." While said Israel has an international law obligation to ensure that the Palestinian people of Gaza do not starve. The only way it can discharge that legal obligation is to either withdraw completely, as it is legally required to do, or to provide the necessary aid or allow others to do so. Quote, Israel is doing neither of those things, end quote, he said, adding that it has been working with the US on the quote-unquote sham operation, that is GHF, to provide limited aid through this sadistic Hunger Games style process where people risk being killed or at least maimed by the very actors from whom they must obtain food. 40 minutes ago. Israeli troops attack Gaza aid seekers in deadly shooting. Emergency rescue workers tell our colleagues on the ground that at least 8 people attempting to receive aid were shot by Israeli forces, who opened fire on a crowd of starving Palestinians in North Gaza. This aid will be added to the toll of 27 other aid seekers killed by Israeli forces today and 1 hour ago. Quote, Israel is doing neither of those things, end quote, he said, adding that it has been working with the US on the sham operation, that is GHF, to provide limited aid, quote unquote, through this sadistic Hunger Games style process where people risk being killed or at least maimed by the very actors from whom they must obtain food, end quote. 1 hour ago again. Israeli troops attack Gaza aid seekers in deadly shooting. Emergency rescue workers tell our colleagues on the ground that at least 8 people attempting to receive aid were shot by Israeli forces, who opened fire on a crowd of starving Palestinians in North Gaza. This aid will be added to the toll of 27 other aid seekers killed by Israeli forces today. And 1 hour ago, what does international law say about the use of starvation as a method of war? First, under international law, the use of starvation as a method of war or repression is banned. Second, people's right to food is protected under what's known as quote-unquote positive and negative human rights obligations. Under positive rights, states have to take steps to ensure access to adequate food through infrastructure, aid, and social programs. Negative rights require states and non-state actors to refrain from restricting people's access to food, such as by destroying farms, blocking aid, or imposing sieges. In Gaza, Israel has been accused of violating both of these rights. Last year, the International Criminal Court issued the arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, citing war crimes, including the international starvation of civilians. A few seconds ago. Editor's choice, what to read and what right now. Here are a few highlights published in recent hours. Famine risk. 1 in 3 Palestinians in Gaza going days without food, UNICEF says. Photos. Gaza families battle for survival as hunger and heat deepen despair. Video. Former guard blows the whistle of GHF aid sites in Gaza. Opinion. It may starve to death before I'm able to graduate in Gaza. Yeah, so I just remember that regular nutrition, regular eating produces cancer. I was reading that, well, maybe this is bullshit, but not eating, starvation is a good way to stop cancer development. Which the same to, I guess, eating meat. Eating meat is not good. I mean, it's good for cancer. Develops cancer. Eating meat, eating in general, and sedentarism. So if you running and not eating is good to combat cancer.